Yep, Dave here from PowerHoof. Just going to have a quick chat about PowerQuest update I've just put out, version 0.15. It's got a bunch of new stuff, but the main thing is a new Gui system, which I'll want to talk about today and sort of show a demo of. Let's go here. Yeah, so as we go to the main PowerQuest page, and there's a version history, you can see there's sort of the new update and all the new features and stuff. There's actually a lot of stuff since the last major update, also like betas. So this is, everything up from here is like new stuff really. A lot of it's GUI stuff though. And I've also done some documentation for the GUI system this time. So under editor manual, there's GUI system manual, and that goes over the basic stuff that I'm going to talk about today anyway, in bit more depth if you need it. I guess the reason I'm doing a GUI system at all is, Unity has one already, but the reason I wanted to do a sort of PowerQuest flavor one is just to have it a bit more integrated. I sort of felt like when I was making a user interface, I wanted it to just be almost the same workflow as if I'm creating a room and adding hotspots and props. And using Unity's one, it's a whole different system. Like the font system uses different, the sprite system is different. So it's not really integrated in the way you do everything else. But you can still use Unity's regular GUI system if you want. You don't have to use the PowerQuest one, but I think it makes a lot of stuff easier, basically, just more integrated. So I'll jump into showing, I guess, an example of one. Just put one in the drifter to show you what we can do. Give you a bit of an overview. So this project's this is a bigger project, so maybe not the best for demoing because it takes a while to compile and stuff. But we'll see how we go. Especially when I'm recording video, I think it slows everything down quite a lot. But there we go. All right, so imagine we've got the player, and there's a door here, and we want to do something when they click on this door. So it doesn't let him yet. Walk to clicked, face clicked. So let's try that. And maybe he says it's locked. Let's try that. All right, it's locked. So imagine there was a keypad lock on this door, although you wouldn't really have one on a chapel door usually, but a fancy keypad lock. So the way you could do that, if you want to show that on the screen and have the player clicking the buttons, you could make a bunch of props that sort of display. You could send the player to a different room, which is just the keypad, like zoomed in or something, which has got a bunch of hotspots, but we're going to do it with a GUI, which has the advantage that you can stick it in different rooms very easily. It's not sort of limited to one specific room. And it just makes more sense for some things like this, I guess. And for a lot of things like menus, you just always use it, like, say, options menu. I think I made options menu in here. Yeah, so things like an options menu. So let's just get stuck into doing that. So to start from the main PowerQuest window, there's just minimize all these rooms and stuff, but come on, slow computer. This computer is like 10 years old, at least the CPU. All right, so we've got my GUIs here. I've got a lot of GUIs for the drifter. Let's make a new one called lock. That could be our lock one. So click create, creates a bunch of stuff. It'll have a script, a bit like creating a room pretty much. And then if we edit it, we've got our, it brings us to a GUI tab. The GUI tab has a bunch of buttons for controls and things. If we add a control for, say, a label, we can then give it a name, call it title, and some text, keypad, that'll do. And this list of controls, the template game will come with a bunch already made for you, but then you can also add your own or sort of customize them. That under the GUI folder in the project, there's a GUI controls folder, and that's where there's a bunch of prefabs, and they will just, if you put something in there, it'll show up in this list. So I've kind of added a few for the drifter, but the basic ones like a basic label and image and things like that, and buttons are all there in the template games as well. So say we've got that, and maybe we've put just a sliced image. So that's something which is sort of resizable. Images are a bit like the rooms. You just type in the name of the animation or the sprite, which is a new feature actually. You can just use the sprite, you don't have to make an animation. So I know there's one called background, which is in the Gui sort of shared images folder. It'll find anything that's in the lock GUI's folder, or anything that's in the main Gui sprites folder. So as you can see, it's sorting a bit wrong. The sorting is done exactly the same as the rooms as well. So the way you position hotspots and things behind each other and props behind each other is the same here. So everything has a baseline. If the baseline's above, then it'll draw above it. Oh, sorry, behind it. So the baseline's in front, it'll draw in front. So below, yes. So we want this is the background image. Let's call it BG. So the background needs to be behind. So I put it up here, and then maybe we want to just scale that, and maybe whatever size that is. Let's try and align this keypad title to the top of it. So to do that, I'll click on the title, and then I'm going to add a component. And I've got a bunch of Quest Gui components and Quest Gui Layout Components. So layout components are the ones that help you with alignment and sizing things, stuff like that. So this time I want to align to an object. So add that one. And I align to the top and I guess center of the background. So I'll just drag this background in across to there. Here, I'll make this bigger for you. There we go. Top center of the background, and then we're going to offset it. We can just offset it here. So just there. A lot of this stuff is built to be nice, play nicely with pixel art, which is an extra helpful thing that the Unity GUI never did. So very good for simple GUIs, especially like just chucking some stuff in quickly. It's really, really good. All right, so now we've got our background image, which is a sliced thing. So now how will we size that? The keypad title thing will be in the top. Let's move it down a bit more. Looks good. All right. So say you've drawn an image of your GUI, which is most of the time you're going to be like wanting it to look like a keypad, to be some art that's drawn in the game. So say like I've drawn this little widget thing here in a sprite. You could sort of draw this into the actual room if you wanted, and then just import this thing, and then so I've got the background here and two buttons to make up this this sort of little GUI here. But say I don't want to have to like position everything in the game. I've got the sprites here. They're exactly where I want. The buttons are where I want. I just want to import that. I'll show you how to do that. And it's pretty much exactly the same as what you would do for a room. So we'll go to here, click on import lock. Let's find that, which I think was on the desktop. So I'm just importing the sprites basically. I'm using my sprite importer thing from Sprite, but you could just be dragging sprites into the sprites folder. So I've got the panel called panel and the cancel and the enter buttons. I'm just going to import those sprites. Cool. Yep. And so now we need to add some controls. Just re-importing. All right. Cool. So now this time, when we added this background image, I added a sliced image sliced, which is one that's set up to be able to sort of resize it however you want. But in this case, we just want a regular image because it's already kind of got its size and everything built in. And I'll just set the anim to, I think it was panel. That appears. And what else have we got? So I'll call that panel. We've got, so we've got two buttons, and I'll do empty buttons because we don't want to have them with text in them. So empty buttons, and I'm going to give the animation of it I'm going to call that, I think we called one enter and one cancel. So let's do enter, and I'll also call this enter. And another one, another image. Oops, meant to be a button, isn't it? Delete that. So another button, empty button, called cancel. Cancel. All right. So we've got our two buttons there. Let's, yeah, I'll leave it like that for now. Actually, let's set them, give them a color. When you when you hover over them, let's make it like cyan color. Oh yes, I've got it. So I want to color the image. So there's this color what. I want to set that to image, and then if I set the color, yep, it'll set it there. And let's do the same for the other one. Cancel. I think I've got a color here I can use. Oh yeah, forgot that. Set that to image. You can also make it color both things, but yeah, so let's... Alright. So now, by default it'll be that color. When you hover the mouse over it, it'll be white. And you can do the same with animation, so you can have it play a different animation when you're hovering over it, so if you've drawn a bunch of things. And yeah, there's a description, so if we wanted to have a mouse over text for things, you can do that for buttons and change the cursor as well. But yeah, so I guess my buttons, I've given them a slightly different colors, haven't I? Yeah, that's better. So again, these things have a baseline. We want the buttons to be in front of the panel, so let's just move the panel back a bit. Panel back up there. Cool. And so the other thing is the hotspot for the buttons, which I can just click this set hotspot from contents for both of these. Maybe I want to have a bit of padding around the hotspot. Then yeah, that'll sort of set that, and it will actually update. The button size will update because the buttons because the button type is set to image. It'll automatically update the hotspot. If it's set to custom, then it wouldn't update anything. It would let you do that manually, basically. Yeah. So now we've got sort of a basic keypad thing. Let's see what happens when we run it in game. I guess exit prefab. Let it slowly compile. All right, well, for starters, it's up at the start, which is what we want. But you can see like the buttons already highlight. When I click on them, it doesn't sort of do anything in the game. But we want to sort of change that so, it starts off. You can't sort of click around the background while it's up and things like that. And also, we want it so when you click this door, instead of saying it's locked, it shows the GUI. And that's an easy one to do. By saying, so this is the script. Let's go back to here. So the script where it says it's locked, let's just make it bring up that GUI. g.lock.show. So that's all you have to do to open a GUI up. Now Mick could say, no, let's just do that. All right. So let's edit our lock again. So if you click on the actual lock, select the actual lock prefab itself, you've got a bunch of options here under data. So in there, the baseline for the actual GUI will say what it sorts on top of, like what other GUIs it's on top of or behind. It's similar to props and things. We want to start not visible. We do want it to be visible in cutscenes, and we also want it to be modal. So visible in cutscenes is, say, if there's something blocking the script, so like a character talking or something, whether it will disappear or stay visible. Modal means when this GUI's up, you can't interact with anything behind it, and the baseline kind of controls what it's behind, but basically it means that this will be the only thing you're kind of clicking when it's up. We won't pause the game. We won't hide any. Oh, we could hide obscured GUIs means anything it's in front of will not be visible. So if I click that, it'll make the inventory bar hide, I think. Yeah, you could set a box collider and draw out the sort of area you want to block clicks into the game if you don't want to make it modal. So it can customize it that way, or you could use a button for that. But that's all we need to set up for now. Let's maybe test that in game again. Alright, so go up to here, opens the keypad, and these buttons don't do anything though. So let's do something about that. If we open up the lock again, these buttons here have on-click next to them. So the cancel one, let's just do GUI.hide, just hides the current GUI. And the enter one, I guess we'll do some logic here later. For now, let's just do GUI.hide as well. We'll say, and how about if, we could get Mick to say, let's make this big again. Mick might say, that wasn't it, and show it again. So that way it's like Mick tries to put the code in, it wasn't right, and then it shows the GUI again, so you can have another go. Okay, so that's all you have to do to make some buttons sort of do something in the game as well. Pretty easy, and it's very much the same as clicking a hotspot or anything like that. And that's kind of the point of making this GUI system like this. So it's very much the same workflow as what you'd use for building a room. So now maybe we should build the actual keypad itself. So for that, I'm going to use these text buttons, button text. So let's make some, I don't know, call it B1 and button text 1, and it looks all right. We'll just make a bunch more. B2, 2, and I could just duplicate these here. Just Control D to duplicate them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll make 6. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Oops. B4. B5, 5, and B6, 6. I won't bother doing 9, but you get the idea. And so now to move these around, we could drag each one and line them up, but I'll use another layout component to do that. I've actually got a control for it, so go click the plus, and there's one called grid container. And this is it's pretty primitive, but it's what I'm using for inventory and things like that. There is the inventory panels that are pre-built for that, but this will basically just you can drag in anything you want to sort of align to the grid. So I could drag that into this items field, and it'll align it for me. But you can also, if I get rid of that one, you can also just click auto layout children, and then if I drag all those ones underneath it, it'll just lay them out like so. And then I can sort of arrange that how I want. So we could do a vertical one. Let's do a wide one like that. And the item spacing is what controls the gaps between everything. So maybe make it 12. How does that look? Yeah, pretty good. These buttons will resize to the size of the text. So it'll be longer for longer characters. To disable that, so this 1 is a bit smaller than the other numbers, I'm just going to go into this fit text, the button type, and change it from fit text to just custom, and then underneath the button, there's the sprite, which is the background, and I'll just make that width 10. Oh, is it still? Oh yeah, sorry. I'll just untick fit to object. So this is, yeah, there we go. Easy. Yeah, so position that where we want it. This keypad thing, if we wanted to, we could fit it to an object, which means it would try and make sure it can sort of contains all the stuff. So we might want to say fit the width to include 6 and button 1 with a bit of padding. Yep, and that way, if we resize this, you know, it'll eventually. Oh yeah, so it's resizing just 1 and 6, but you know, you could drag whichever ones you want. Yeah, it'll resize the whole thing. We probably don't want to do that because we want to be able to make it whatever we want. So let's untick that for now. So we can just, you know, do what we want with it. All right, so we've got the keypad. What else we need? Maybe something that shows what buttons you're sticking in. So I'll do another little image just for the background, a sliced one called BG. Put that up here. And let's, what else do I have to do for that? So the baseline, so it's behind, so in front of the background, but behind some text, if we add some text. And then we'll add another label called, label. Stick that in there, maybe give it a color. Maybe it can be that color. Nice. And that can be the key code basically. Good enough. So I'm going to call this one code. Or maybe we'll call it input. That's a good name. Input. All right. So now we've pretty much got everything we need in our keypad. Just going to test the length of this. So if we want it to flash something like accepted. Let's see. Oh yeah, that kind of fits. But what about? Yeah, let's make it a bit wider. That's better. Lovely stuff. All right. So we've got a lovely little GUI here. I guess we need to do something with these buttons. Well, let's have a look at it in game first. See how it's going. Compile. All right. Okay. Now it comes up and it starts by saying accepted, which we probably don't want. So if I go to my GUI lock, let's change the on show to. So if we type in labels, we could also type in buttons, etc. But so labels dot, and then we've got all our controls. So we want to change the input. Dot text equals start with nothing when it's empty. So save that. So if I click X closes it, click it again, and it comes up. And none of these buttons do anything. If we click the enter, that wasn't it. That works. But now we want to do these buttons. So to do that, let's we'll stop it here, and we'll add a bunch of edit the lock again. And for all these buttons, we'll just add an on-click thingy. Once we compile. All right, so I guess the easiest way to do this is labels dot input dot text plus equals, in this case it's button 1. Button 2. Button 3. Button. So yeah, the same way you'd let's make this text bigger. The same way you'd say edit the hotspot description for a prop, like prop.brick. Hide or something, you know, you might to hide a brick prop or I don't know, description equals hello. The same exact kind of style of code and stuff is used with these labels, so and buttons and things. So you could change the text on a button or anything you want really. Yeah. So anyway, so that was 4. Let's see. 5 and 6. I think we've pretty much got all we need. The last thing would be to show how to do the actual logic of you know, completing the puzzle, and once you've learnt the code, being able to put it in. So let's see, click that, shows the lock. Can't click anything else, which is what I want. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that wasn't it. But no matter what I type, you'll say that wasn't it. Doorbell. So let's fix that. So enter. And he says that wasn't it. I've got auto load ticked, so that brings it up here, which is nice. So I guess what I want to do is if labels dot input dot text equals, let's make the code 1, 2, 3, 4. Then let's accepted. Then just like any other PowerQuest script, I'll wait a second, and you can say it's unlocked. But otherwise, the text could be, say, denied. We can say, that wasn't it. And then we can just show it again. And because that'll play the on show, it'll reset the keypad so we can try again. Yeah, so using the hot loading, let's see if that works. All right, so 333. That wasn't it. But we've got to wait after we do that. Let's try that. Denied. That wasn't it. All right, let's try 1, 2, 3, 4. Accepted. It's unlocked. And maybe since it's unlocked, we can say d.door. Oh, sorry, p. That's hotspot h.door dot description equals the door's unlocked. And just any other kind of regular PowerQuest stuff you might want to do, you can do there. What else could we do? We could make it flash nicely. So for int I equals 0, I is less than 4. Let's make it flash. Wait. So then just clear out the text. Wait again. All right, let's see that work. So at the moment it says a solid oak door leads to the chapel. 1, 2, 3, 4, beep, accepted. It's unlocked. and now it says the door's unlocked when I move my mouse over it. The game is a complete success. So yeah, there we go. Made a little GUI puzzle. Obviously we wouldn't want to show it again if it's unlocked, but yeah, so yeah, hopefully that gives an idea of like why I put in a sort of whole new GUI system when Unity already has pretty much like 3 already. And hopefully that's useful. Yeah. Also, how good are my rain effects? I'm very happy with them. Yeah, I think that's probably all I wanted to show today. There's like plenty more detail and stuff to go into on this. I don't know if I'm missing anything very critical. I kind of had this as an example to show. But yeah, I think that's the bulk of it. And yeah, dive into the new update if you want. But I'll head out now. See you next time. Bye.